All righty now. So we're going to talk about last week's games. Ben, it was some good games last week. I sat
Very
up
good
there and
games.
really enjoyed it. You know, I went about 60% last week on the games that, or at least the bias held in about 60% of the games.
Okay.
This is what was funny.
Oh, the bias held in about 60% in week 5 games?
Yep.
Excellent. Very good. So I'm just a little bit under that.
We were killing it
Yeah.
until the Chargers, Dallas,
And the Chiefs.
and the Chiefs played.
Knocked the bias and me out of the box. 3 games in a row.
Man, I'm like, what's going on around here? I don't know.
And those might be the 3 games where everybody just knew they had the winner.
I wondered about
there might be a few folks who might have been on the Packers.
Vegas took a hit.
Well, I don't know because they got the spreads on their side. So.
Oh yeah, wow.
But nobody took Denver over the Chargers, and nobody took the Colts over the Chiefs. They might have wanted to. I thought about it for about 2 seconds. If any game, it might have been the Packers game, but then they had that other game, so they left some doubt.
Let's start out.
It's a tough business.
It's a tough business. Rams, Seahawks. All right. Rams, Seahawks. Did you get a chance to take a look at that?
Extremely entertaining game. That was the Thursday night game.
Yeah.
Extremely entertaining game. Russell Wilson at his finest, moving, grooving, getting out of trouble, getting the ball downfield. Rams showed a little more weakness in their run defense. Everybody yells about Aaron Donald and them boys up front, but guess what? They got a weakness in their run defense. Chris Carson had a nice night. I think the Seahawks offense was a little more efficient than the Rams offense as far as their run to pass ratio. I don't have the numbers in front of me. This is just off of memory and the eye test. I think that the Rams did one thing really well on offense is they used Gurley very well. It's obvious that they're not using him as a workhorse. But when they bring him in the game, the situations they put him in and the plays that they call for him, I think are ideal. And if they can continue to do that, they will probably continue to win games and continue to keep him healthy. I believe he scored 2 touchdowns, or am I thinking of the week before? That was he did well.
Well, first off, let me say that the Rams ranked 26 in giving up points.
Okay, well,
talk about some weakness on defense.
That weak behind run defense will kill you every time.
Will kill you. And when I'm watching that game, the Seahawks were making such spectacular plays.
Yes.
That I'm thinking, oh, can they keep this up? It's like, okay, that kind of looked lucky. Everybody was saying, I thought Russell Wilson was throwing that out of bounds. And the catch in the corner, the toe tap, that was
pretty.
It was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. So absolutely a bit of a surprise there. But, it is what it is. That's, and that's our division. And that is my sleeper team. Am I correct?
Yes, Todd Gurley did have 2 rushing touchdowns, by the way, so I didn't get my games mixed up.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Let us take a quick look at the next game. The Cardinals versus the Bengals. We were surprised at this one because, Cardinals have had their struggles, got the rookie at quarterback there, and we said if there was ever a chance to win something.
I actually said that and then picked the Bengals.
Did you?
Yes. What's wrong with me? I said if they're going to win a game, this is the one, but I can't lie. I took the Bengals.
Wow. That's probably the biggest difference between your percentage and our percentage.
Well,
and the bias.
good job, net point power rankings.
Oh man, I'm telling you, got it done. Got it done. And you know, the little guy, when he had to run, he ran, got in the end zone. You know, I'm always talking about the running quarterbacks, but in his case, you got to do what you got to do. And
I'm listening. I'm
it's a
listening.
strength for him, so I think he used it pretty intelligently.
It's a strength for him, yes.
You know,
and he did use it intelligent.
Use it pretty intelligent.
And I'll tell you what, the kid is special when he gets moving. He gobbles up yardage with those little legs. You see him moving fast, but it doesn't look like he's going far, but he really is. In fact, he ran 10 times for 93 yards, which tops almost every doggone running back in the league last week. And he scored a touchdown. But passing, he wasn't terrible. I just happened to jot down. He threw 32 passes, completed 20 of them for 253. That's a good day. Not a great day. 300 is a great day, but that's a good day.
Hey, look, he's learning. He's getting the
He's
feel
coming
for
along.
it.
Oh, he's a player. It's the team that's the problem, but he is a player.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I got to get that to him. All right. Who's up next here? Let's see. We have the Bills and the Titans.
Ah, yes.
I know you had to have picked this one.
I had no doubt on this one. I've been touting the Bills. I believe in the Bills defense, even though the Titans are ranked a little higher than them in some of the rankings. I really like Buffalo, and I took them, yes. So I did win this one against the bias.
Against the bias, yeah. The bias had the Titans.
It helped that the starting quarterback came back off of concussion protocol also because it was a close game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. That was a close game. And, you know, last week when we talked about the next game up, we didn't mention that it was in England.
No, we didn't. I actually didn't even remember until I heard it on television the next day.
Now, this was a game that I was very interested in because I put out a meme where I basically called Khalil Mack the great disruptor.
Right.
Everybody said that.
Right.
So I'm wondering what happened to Khalil Mack. It's like he didn't disrupt that enough to get that thing done. And I'm like, what happened? And last week I said, is it possible that Gruden has some idea about how to handle Khalil Mack now? You know, this is what I saw. I saw Khalil Mack struggling to deal with a big left tackle, getting planted on a number of different runs.
Planted?
Planted.
Wait, on running plays?
On running plays. Running to his side, much less. Yeah.
There we go with the vaunted pass rushers getting handled on run plays.
Is that a thing? Pass rushers not being able to handle run plays?
It has been a thing for some people, but it's a bigger thing when the pass rusher is supposedly a great pass rusher. I don't want to say supposedly is a great pass rusher.
Yeah.
Sometimes their run defense may suffer.
Now, this is a point. You always talk about going from the West Coast to the East Coast.
Yeah.
And the 4-hour time differential for the 1 o'clock games being problematic.
Right.
I heard John Gruden talk about what he learned from the last time he went to England. He said the last time they got in like the day before or something like that.
Right.
And he said he felt as if his team was sluggish. They were struggling, didn't have quite the pep, the energy.
Okay.
So he got his team over there like days and days ahead of time.
Very smart.
As opposed to the Bears, who kind of came over like he did.
On a so-called normal schedule.
On a so-called normal schedule.
Yeah.
And I wondered, okay, well, what's the big deal with England? And I went and took a look. England's on a 5-hour
That's right.
time differential.
Gets earlier and earlier and earlier, and then you cross the Atlantic, it gets even earlier.
Right. So from the central time, it's probably more like 6 hours or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bears did not look ready right off the beginning.
There you go.
And they ran on them boys. They said, oh, you tired? you're not quite ready because you got a little 5-6 hour what's that called? Time lag or
jet lag.
Jet
whatever.
lag.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see if you can handle this run because they were going after him on the run, and I had to give it to him. You had to give it to him. I hadn't heard anybody really talk about that too much. He mentioned it, so I thought that I would mention it. And you always talk about it. You always talk about it. So yeah, that time differential is a mess, man. You gotta take every little thing into account when you're playing these games.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but it's true.
Buccaneers, Saints. Well, okay. That was another one we did not get, or at least I didn't.
I got
Bucks
that
were
one. I love the
favored
Saints
with the bias plus.
Yeah, I love the Saints, so I took that one away from the power rankings also. But usually, this is what happens. Regardless of what the power rankings say, if I really love a team, I'm probably going to take them. And this is a situation where I really love the Saints. I like what they're doing. And I know the Buccaneers defense just isn't quite up to par. So I took the Saints. But good game.
Did you hear Teddy's new nickname?
Bridgewater?
Yeah.
What?
Teddy Roosevelt. That's what they call
Did you? Oh, okay. I
didn't make it up.
Oh, good.
I'm telling you, I heard this on television.
I'm glad.
Like, Roosevelt?
Okay.
All right.
Because I can, okay.
You know, yeah, it was corny, but, you know.
Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Stop
All right, man. Your Giants came up against the Vikings. I text you. Did you see my text?
I don't know. Weak sauce. Oh, yeah. You said I need a
Kwiatkowski.
Kwiatkowski. You need a lot more than that. You need a lot more than that, man.
Oh, he had time, man. He had wait. You can't even give Kirk Cousins that kind of space and time, man.
I can't say anything good about my team except I'm glad I got Daniel Jones for the future. And because let's face it, when Saquon comes back, he might have enough gas to maybe make the difference in a game or two. That's about it. Wait till we get to this week's games. Good Lord. Let's not waste any more time on them.
Yeah. Okay, let's move it right along. Jets, Eagles. We ain't going to waste a lot of time on this one either because, I mean, the Eagles beat up on the handicap squad. The Jets came in, you know.
Yeah, still missing their starting quarterback.
Still missing their starting quarterback. Working with, what, the third-string quarterback at this particular point?
Yeah.
I mean, and they were abusing him, like snatching the ball out of his hands and running in for touchdowns and just having a grand old time. And, you know, then you hear the fans talk about it like this was a serious win over a serious team. Like, come on, this wasn't.
Well, that's why you can't listen to the fans, okay? Because what I saw and what I've been hearing on talk radio, not from the fans, but from the commentators, not that they're know-it-alls or anything, they kind of saw the same thing I saw. They saw a team that should have been far better than another team, not necessarily struggle to win the game, but kind of struggle with the concepts they tried to work with in the game and the things that they tried to do. It just seemed a little haphazard. We've already talked about how the Eagles like to use their running backs and how sometimes there seems to be no rhyme or reason as to when they put it. Obviously, they're running by committee, which a lot of people don't agree with. Some people feel like Howard should be the lead back and Sanders should be the third down back or the change of pace back, and you should just leave it like that. Personally, that's how I feel, but I'm not an Eagles fan. But instead, they're still trying to get the ball to Sproles at inopportune times. He had a bad fumble. It just seems out of kilter. Like, it's not even like you get this series, you get this series. It's all over the place. So I can't figure it out. Wentz wasn't as accurate as I thought he should have been against a weak secondary. Aguilar still looks shaky. I don't know, man. I don't know.
When you say Sproles, first thing I think is, why is Why are you using him as a back? Put him back. Let him return
I
punts.
said the exact same thing when I was
He's
hanging out at the
fear.
bar last week. I'm like, why is he still
He
playing
strikes
running back?
fear. But you got two good running backs. Not even mentioning the third guy, our Corey Clement, who, sitting back there waiting to get a shot.
Yeah, he should be healthy now, shouldn't
He's
he?
healthy. He's in the
That's
game.
what I thought.
Yeah, and I'm like, Sproles should be back there. They should be kicking. You could hear the coach from the Jets saying, "Don't kick it to Sproles. Don't kick it," because that's what happens with Sproles.
Right. He's still a valid punt returner, no doubt. Kickoffs, I don't know, but he's a valid punt returner.
It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. But okay, they won that one, and we'll move right along. Let's see who's next here. Ravens, Steelers. Last week I said they aren't who we thought they were. But they won that game.
Yes,
they got it done against the Steelers.
Yes, they did.
Second-string quarterback, but still,
Division opponent. They beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh, which is something that they always would like to do. So that looks good on their resume for the season. It's always good to beat a rival, even when they're down. So we got to give them credit for that. They seem to be not running on all cylinders like we thought they would when Lamar had the big games early. But I think as the season goes on, the Ravens will continue to get better and better. They're hanging in the power rankings. So that's got to tell you something. They haven't dropped. So
they're scoring points.
Right.
They're scoring points.
Getting it done.
All right. Redskins, Patriots. Let me say this here. They replaced Jay Gruden, the head coach, after this game.
After this game, yes.
And to me, it kind of illustrated how dysfunctional this team is. And I said, Redskins, excuse me, it is the Washington team that needs to change their name.
That's who they are.
They fired the coach after losing to the Patriots.
Right.
Which nobody expected them to beat the Patriots.
I knew you were going to say something like that.
But
that's not.
Who's their next opponent, Ben?
I don't know.
Who's their next opponent?
Who is their next opponent?
The Dolphins. You could at least let him hang around and get a win under his belt.
You could at least.
You could at least give him one more week.
But see, if you give him
one more week, the Dolphins, then you definitely got to kick him out of there.
Right, but if he does beat the Dolphins, then you got to keep him another week.
Well, okay.
And then it looks like you're just letting the guy drag along.
Well,
they made up their mind the week before. Believe me, they just did. They just wanted him to get, you can't let him go. If you make up your mind, you're going to fire him. You can't give him a chance to win a game. Because then it's like, oh, you fired him after he won?
After he won?
So they're like, we're pretty sure we want to fire him. What we got next week? Patriots? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The setup
right after the game.
Right after the game, yeah.
In fact, they were talking about this on talk radio. Supposedly, he got a phone call at 5 o'clock in the morning that he'd been fired and come in and get his stuff. That's crazy.
Well, he said if his key still works, and so they didn't even make it any drama about the key. Wasn't an issue about the key. We're staying at the door with your stuff in a box.
Yeah, we got you boxed up, bro.
Oh man, that's difficult.
I'm waiting. Did his brother hire him yet?
Not yet.
He's probably gonna take.
It hasn't been announced yet, anyway.
He's gonna take a couple days to unwind. It's been a tough couple seasons for him, man. I feel bad for the guy.
What happened to the Minshew Magic, man?
Did it run out?
Did C-Mac take care of that? All that business?
They walked into that Panthers magic on defense.
That C-Mac stuff, man.
Hey, look.
I wondered if he was a little hurt. Did you see that flip, man? He went in the end zone.
Oh, yeah.
And he kind of came down, and it didn't look like he was hurt. He was, he got him up and everything.
Yeah.
But a little later on in the game, you didn't see him as much.
He's fine.
Okay.
Actually, he does have an injury designation in fantasy. Like they put every team. I like this about the NFL. Every team has to put out an injury report, either directly after the game or the next day, being Monday. and then they have to give another official injury report after practice on Fridays, which helps you determine if people are going to play or not when they have lingering injuries and you're not sure how their practice sessions are going. Because they'll tell you limited practice, full practice, but you're not there. You can't see.
Right.
So you don't know if the guy's still limping or this or that or the other. So that helps. So he came in to practice today, a Monday, with an injury designation. I forget what it was, though. It wasn't nothing bad.
Okay.
Probably means he had a limited practice or he might have sat out. I think they practice on Mondays, then they take Tuesdays off, and then they go again on Wednesday. So,
But you expect him to be there next
oh,
week.
absolutely.
All right. Falcons, Texans. Now, Ben, last week, you gave me a lot of grief when I said that Deshaun wasn't hanging in the pocket enough.
That's right.
So first off, let me say to Deshaun, congratulations on a perfect 158.3 quarterback rating.
Right.
And secondly, he still didn't have a pocket, but there was nobody within 15 yards of him in some of those passes. That line was getting it done, man. The Falcons are not ready for prime time.
The Falcons are disintegrating before our eyes. Slowly, methodically, excruciatingly. I'm running out of leads. Okay? Yeah, he went 28 for 33 for 426. A tremendous fantasy day if you started him.
Oh, yeah.
He carried your squad. Okay?
I can imagine.
He did run 4 opportune times
Opportunity.
for 47 yards.
Okay.
So, again, he ain't out there just romping and running, when stuff breaks down. I've been trying to, since we had the discussion, I've been trying to really watch him and see if he actually is scrambling and rolling out and keeping his eyes downfield first before he just takes off. And they do have some run plays kind of set for him. But I don't think it's more than they should. You know what I mean? I don't think he's like the Panthers did Cam.
Right.
They gave him way too
Way
many.
Too much, yeah.
And he already has in his mind, stuff's breaking down, I'm out. Okay, you can't overdo it with a guy like that. I think Deshaun's a little smarter.
Falcons ranked 27th in net points with minus 29, 27th in point scoring with 70, and 22nd in points against, giving up 99 points.
And that could get worse. I don't know if they'll overtake or undertake the Dolphins and the team out of Washington that needs to change their name, who's down around the bottom of most of those categories too. But
yeah, I mean, there's almost like with the Patriots on the top part of the net points, the Dolphins on the bottom part of the net points are like obviously well beyond everybody else in how badly they're scoring. They're 32nd. They are minus 137 in net points.
The next team above them
is minus 53.
Oh, that tells you a lot.
That tells you a lot right there. That's why we call it the Miami Dolphins skew.
Sheesh.
Anybody who had a chance. And I wondered if it affected the Cowboys. If they were, again, you don't know how good you are. You play these guys, you beat up on them, and you're like,
A lot of folks are saying that. Look at the Cowboys' first couple of games. Who did they play? Weaker, and weakest.
Let me mention something about the Cowboys real quick. Everybody's talking about Dak because his contract, is under negotiation and everything. Dak this, Dak that, Dak this.
Every week is going to be, did he help himself or did he hurt himself? Every week.
I was sitting there watching him saying, I see dollars flying out the window, Dak,
Right.
But go back and watch that game. I think really the better question, because in reality, Dallas is still 7th in scoring with 107. The Cowboys are actually pretty good on defense. They're 4th on defense.
No doubt about that. Their defense is bona fide.
Well, I don't know. They were not bona fide in the red zone against the run. They were
they
getting
had some challenges.
sliced up
They
in
had
the
some
red
challenges.
zone against the run.
But
If that's a challenge for them, they need to. That's something they need to straighten out.
That is true, but I'm going to give them an opportunity to straighten that out.
Are you going to give them an opportunity?
Yeah, I'm not
Jerry
going to call it an
Jr. over
aberration.
there?
No, I'm just going to say I'm not saying exactly it was an aberration, like it just happened. Because Aaron Jones, I wish had been playing that well all season.
He had nothing.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right.
I mean, I'm saying to myself, did the Green Bay Packers coaches see something?
The way the plays that they ran and the way they gashed them, I would say yes. I don't know what it was. I'm not an NFL coach, okay? But yeah, they saw something.
I had to give it to them. I was like,
they saw something.
Just like Gruden,
they had hats on
saw
hats.
something with the Bears. I think them guys saw something and said, we can run on these guys.
Yeah, hats on hats. Well, again, the Bears' run defense hasn't been real sturdy either, but it's been better than they showed. What did I want to say about Dallas? Oh, so the controversy about Dak's contract, and again, some people are like, dude, you should have been signed that, John. And then other folks are like, no, hang in there, bet on yourself, keep working, finish the season, and then you can get whatever number you want. But if it's going to be up and down like this, and we're just talking about his individual play, we're not even really talking about the team itself. When you want to talk about the team but back to him, Jerry Jones, who some people believe when he talks and some people don't, seems to think that it's not affected in one way or the other as far as management is concerned and what it is that they're going to negotiate with him as far as what they're going to pay him. So I think, again, just like he came in with a number, they have a number too. And their number may have changed a little bit, but whatever it is, that's the number they're going to stick to. As far as I know right now, there is no negotiation at this time. Both sides are just sitting it out and just playing games, letting the games play out. And they're not actually going back and forth with his agent. But somewhere along the line, that's going to happen. Whether it plays out to the end of the season, we'll have to see.
The question that came up with his contract was, what were the level of guarantees? Because they're talking about how much they were so-called offering, but we don't know the ins and outs of that contract, whether that contract was, it's like, yeah, we'll give you $30 million, we'll guarantee 10.
And that could have been the holdup. Although what I heard, which may or may not have been true, was he asked for somewhere upwards of $35 million. And they just said no. So the guarantee word didn't come up. We won't hear that again probably until they actually nail something down. But that could have been a sticking point. Maybe they were willing to give him 35, but he wanted too much of a guarantee. You never know now. With these guarantee contracts now, these guys are jumping on this money while it's out here. And it's the NFL, so let's not kid ourselves. Guys get hurt like – you can get hurt in practice and have a career-ending injury. So if somebody's guaranteeing you millions of dollars, it's hard to say no.
There's so many injuries so far this year,
a bunch,
that I'm sure the ownership has to be questioning the guarantees at some particular point.
Yes and no. When you go back to that other conversation that we had, that's why you got to go on. And if you miss any of our videos, you got to go back and look at some of the old ones, because we talk about these things and then they come back up again. But we talked about TV revenue and stuff increasing over the years and how much more money is going to be out there later, so that these owners are like, yeah, go ahead, guarantee them this now. Then we lock them up, and by the time all this new fresh money comes, they'll be old and they'll be out of here.
Could be.
So
could be.
It's tough, man.
It's tough. Interesting. All right, who's up next here? Let's take a quick look. Broncos, Chargers. This was one of the games that the bias was in favor of the Chargers.
This one was a killer.
But the Chargers had a lot of. We're talking about injuries. Lots of injuries. Chargers had lots of positions.
But not to the point where I thought they would lose to the Denver Broncos in LA. Come on.
Some at least one untimely turnover on interception that I saw.
Yeah.
Thrown by the Chargers. So there were some questions about that.
The coach was PO'd, man.
Was he?
His post-game conference, he was extremely angry. Not yelling, screaming angry, but like a pot that's boiling and it's right on the edge, ready to boil.
Really?
That kind of angry. He was hot.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And Von Miller's name is in trade talks.
You heard it here. You heard it here. All right. We talked a little bit about this game. Not much more we need to say about this.
Yeah.
We can move on beyond the Cowboys game and see what's next. I mean, let's face it. Aaron's Aaron. Aaron goes into Dallas Stadium looking for his statue, I think.
And didn't even have a great statistical game.
But of course not. The other Aaron, 4 touchdowns running. Like I said, gashing that defense that we're all,
Got to have that running game, baby. That bodes well.
Man, look.
For the future.
Speaking of gotta have that running game.
Yeesh.
Talk about controlling the game, the situation, with the run, the quick passes, and all of that. Like you said, nobody really expected. The Chiefs had a bias plus score of 51 in their favor. Not a whole bunch, but 51's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Over a 5-game, that's like 10 points a game on average that they would be winning by. So, that was an upset. That's one reason you check into the Sterling Net Point power ranking. So when an upset is an upset.
Right.
Because again, the money had to be on Kansas City.
Absolutely.
And so we know, like from a Vegas perspective, but just from a net point perspective, that's an upset,
Yeah.
And so you got to give the Colts kudos, man.
The Chiefs, the way they've been playing, the fact that they were at home, there's no way you could go against them. But there are some people out there who will say, and when they say it, they will sound good, that the Colts were a team that people were expecting coming into the season to have to deal with Andrew Luck at quarterback. They were getting talked up as a team that was going to be a problem, would probably win the division and could possibly give the Chiefs some trouble and anybody else in vying for the AFC Championship. So Luck goes down, Jacoby Brissett comes in, and all of a sudden they're chopped liver. Oh, no. Not so fast, my friend. As my man on the college thing says. The Colts are still nice. Solid defense. Wish they had to play a little better last week, would have helped me in fantasy. But they got a solid defense, and they run the ball like crazy. Mm-hmm. Great run blockers. Who are those defenses we said we're lacking in the run? I got to check the Colts schedule and see if they play some of that. Because they're going to pound them boys.
Oh, man.
So kudos to the Colts. Good job. One more thing real fast about this game, because we got one more game to talk about. Remember last week when we talked about fantasy and having too many guys from one team on your team?
Yeah.
And I said you would think that you would want to have a lot of Patriots because they're the top team. And I said I would rather have, if I had my druthers, more Chiefs than a bunch of Patriots. But I still wouldn't want that many guys from one team. Kiss of death. Mahomes projected to score 25 in fantasy, scored 19. Damian Williams projected to score 10, scored 5. Shady projected to score 11, scored 1.
And he had a fumble too, didn't he?
Yeah, that don't help. But that goes against their defense.
Okay.
No, I mean, yeah, that actually doesn't go against them. It goes for the other team's defense.
Okay.
And Sammy Watkins is hurt, so I just took the next, because all the receivers are basically the same guy. Demarcus Robinson projected to score 9, he scored 5. If I had started him at quarterback, them two at running back, and him at wide receiver, I lost. I don't care who I played. I would have lost. Those numbers are far too low for each particular position.
Okay.
So beware out there. Do not play. I don't care what team they're on. Don't stack your team with players from one team. Unless you're playing Miami, maybe.
Yeah.
But even then,
excuse in effect for you if that's the case.
But even then, somebody could blow up and the other guy could have a weak game. You know what I mean? It's the ball doesn't get distributed evenly just because that's what you want it to do. It just doesn't happen that way. So.
Okay. All right. Well, so we finished up the week. Monday night.
Yeah.
I told you I was a little scared. I had played that game in franchise
yeah,
on that.
Yeah.
Turned the ball over 3 times, interceptions.
Uh-huh.
I think the Niners heard. They heard what happened, and they said, "Screw that throwing the ball like that. We're gonna run this thing down these guys' throats."
You gotta love it when you bust the first play of the game. You gotta love it.
Now, how long have I been talking about Breida?
Oh, love it.
Breida has been my starter
We love
on Madden all along. I replace, but they had a nice balance. And it's really weird. I'm seeing a lot of what's kind of looks like Canadian football type plays going on.
What?
Did you notice on the one play with the Niners, I think it was Marquise Goodwin, started in motion, then came back this way, and it came back. He's running like back and forth behind the quarterback.
I must have been going to get a beer doing that.
And it's throwing the defense off because they're trying to track him and they're trying to make adjustments.
Was there a guy traveling back and forth with him?
I have to go back and take a look, but I know if they were in zone, they still kind of got to make.
They're going to slide a little.
I don't think they were in man.
Okay.
Because I didn't see a guy.
So actually, that's even worse because it would have been better if they were a man and that one guy was just constantly traveling back and forth with him because everybody else could just settle in.
Right?
Yeah, but if they decided to play zone and he starts doing that, now it's like, okay, are they going to break him over here and go back against
He didn't
the
even
grain?
get the ball. They handed it off.
I understand that, but that's the questions that he puts into the defensive's mind. So that's cool.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
Isn't that
cool.
crazy?
That's
I'm
cool.
telling you, man.
That was a really good game. I'm not going to say I don't like the Browns, but all this talk and all this Baker Mayfield and all this OBJ and all this, I'm really, really tired of it. So it kind of early on, I was kind of happy, like, yeah, go ahead, stick it in them, get it. Yeah. But after a while, it got boring. Like, this team is obviously way better than this team. This team is obviously nowhere near as good as I thought they might have possibly been. It was good to see Tevin Coleman back.
Right.
Now you got your full comp. Well, you don't have your full comp because Juszczyk got hurt.
Which?
It's not serious, is it? I didn't check.
He's out. Yeah, I think it's a MCL or something.
Oh,
it's like 46 weeks.
Yeah.
That's I think that could materially affect what they do. If you listen to a lot of the commentators talking about last week's games, there seems to be a resurgence in the use of fullbacks.
On some teams.
More teams seem to be
copycat league. That's what's going to happen.
And even in Madden, he's my third tight end. You know what I mean? It's what's his name? What's the starting tight end name?
Kittle.
Kittle having a moment there. Kittle, sell it, Juszczyk. So I use him a lot. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they used him a lot. He was having a great, blocking the whole bit. So now there will be a challenge, to coaching, and how do you make up for a loss of somebody that integral to your offense?
There will be an element of the offense that kind of goes away because of that. Now it'll be interesting to see if through free agency or the practice squad or something, they come up with another fullback. Obviously, he won't be as good as Juszczyk, but let's see if they actually make an effort to be able to continue to run the plays that they run out of those formations when they have a fullback in there. Great thing is, Shanahan's offense is extremely diverse. His running game comes at you in all different kinds of ways. 2 tight ends, 1 tight end, 4 wides. He's still single back. You still don't know what you're going to get. And he has versatile running backs. So
I put Selleck in at backup fullback. I would not.
wait, did the real Selleck retire?
No,
He's still playing?
Yeah,
Jesus.
but he's a backup. Kittle gets all of it.
Yeah, I know he's a back. I knew he was a backup. I didn't even know if
They
he was
have a
still on the
couple.
team.
They have a couple new tight ends also.
Okay.
Pretty big guys.
No, I saw the other one. He caught a ball. 82, I think is his number.
I'm not
I
even
forget
trying
his
to
name,
say
but
that.
yeah.
Or something like that.
But that's what I said. I saw the 2 tight end offense. They showed us everything.
Yeah. And then I will put Tevin Coleman in at fullback every once in a while.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'll put him in
That's
at
mad.
fullback.
They won't do that.
Well, you never know.
They won't do
You know,
that.
because
They're
they
not
do
doing that.
run
Dude's gonna be like,
offensive
oh,
with 2 halfbacks.
You don't pay me to.
He might not be a
block.
fullback, but they will run 2.
They do have a 2-back, yes.
2-back systems.
Because I saw that in Atlanta. Yes.
So I wouldn't
They
be
use
surprised.
Tevin and Devontae Freeman in Atlanta. They could use him and Breida, or him and Wilson, or him and Mostert. There's no telling what we're going to see. And that's a real strength for the Niners offense. Y'all getting scary.
Getting scary.
Scary.
Speaking of scary, this is what's scary, Ben. Your birthday.
Duh.
You had a birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Show the young picture, though. That's a young picture. What was I, 30 then?
There's the young picture. And you got a whole lot of comments and love on Facebook.
Yeah,
so I know
that
you
was
haven't-
wonderful.
You're not even
Thank
on
everybody.
Facebook hardly, but go take a look.
I'm on there. Well, you know, the birthday stuff pops up. I can't ignore it. So I tried to go on. I tried to thank everybody. If I didn't thank you, I thank you.
Happy
Much
birthday.
appreciated.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. All right. We're going to get ready to move on to the Bias Plus reports in one moment.